Try d4. Jamil Jamor. d4, c4. And he's playing, looks like maybe a King's Indian. Yep. Gonna go with the fianchetto variation. Yeah, I don't know, is there a book on this? I've seen this a lot lately. Okay, I'm going to play e4 and e5 if he doesn't play e4, e5 himself. Yeah, it looks like he's not bothering with e5. He could still play e5 here. This h-pawn push is unusual. I have not seen it in this particular situation. Here, let's kick the knight away from there. He was adding an extra defender to this square. Yeah, I didn't want to see it. I did because I want the pawn push in, and I might need this. So now his knight has not so great places to go, and this is adequately defended knight and rook against bishop and knight. So what I can do here is trade off that bishop next. This is, I guess, one reason why you don't see this push so much in this particular setup. This is a square you can use for a piece now. And getting rid of the defenders around the king is always a good idea. But this bishop in particular putting pressure on my e5 pawn is a bit annoying. Jamil Jamor, what you playing? Yeah, he doesn't have to move the bishop or take. He can wait for me to take. I will take it. And then knight here would give up the pawn. Let's start by bringing another rook to the center. I mean, yeah, it's tempting to want to move the knight and push the pawn forward to defend here solidly, but he's got pressure on that pawn with the knight and queen, so no immediate knight move is possible, unless it's somehow a tempo. Knight here, for example. Oh, now I can move the knight. Let's defend this pawn first. Okay, I want to stay in touch with this rook, I guess, so I can take back with the queen. Well, actually, now that the pressure is off this pawn, I could take back with the rook as also. Could also do that. I think I'll keep it like this, though. Queen. So, knight here, here, here. Knight here is possible because, again, the queen is attacking and the knight is defending, so... Then maybe, yeah, maybe queen here, and then knight here. This bishop is in the way of this knight coming back to attack the pawn. So I'm close to being able to move my knight. Now if he takes there, do I want to take back with the queen or the rook? And also, is there something I can do here? He takes, I take with check. And the queen does not come out because this knight is actually a pretty good defender. Could go with this knight. No, this knight. So the rook defends. And take back with the knight here. Then bring the queen out. Yeah, if I get a knight here and a queen here, I'll be looking at this pawn. Might be pretty interesting. Well, my opponents have been putting up tough struggles today. Had a game earlier where I was up by a couple of pawns, but he held on for a draw. And he was a lower rated opponent too. Maybe I'm missing some tactics here or something. Or maybe this player is someone who runs out of time. We're just on move 23, so it's not like I was playing badly here, I don't think. Don't quite get the point of that. Kind of a double attack here. That's a tactic. Bishop there defends both. Okay, pawn up, pawn takes, pawn takes. Bishop can go here. No, here it can go. Then I can take here. That's what I wanted to get. King goes here, it's mate, so king has to go here. Yeah, I wonder if this is mate anyway. Or should I just come back and defend the knight and set up a discovered check there? So I go here with check. King takes here. Yeah, I don't see the mate actually. Sometimes there is a mate in these situations, but need to get my king out of the way and get the rook over. Here's a way to make a mate of it. check here, and then take here will be mate. There we go. Well, that was a nice way to finish. Let's see if we can get another game here. Get a rapid game. Spartacus 4. I'm going to play the French defense. And see what Mr. Spartacus, he goes for the French exchange. So far we're just in the book. All the standard moves. Yeah, white can get a little pressure on black. And bring the knight out to attack this pawn, bring the bishop here to pin the knight, that kind of thing. Although, if he brings the knight out first, I guess I can take a moment to stop the pin. But then he can go here with the knight. Okay, let's think about this. I play here. He plays here. Do I have a good bishop move? Bishop could go here, but it would get kicked. Could drop back here. Now I think it's better to prevent the knight from coming here, and then yeah, he's not pinning my knight. I guess he was worried about my pin against his knight. So by now we're out of the book, and I did stop to think, and hopefully I will continue to think. He can maneuver this knight around to this square, supported by the bishop. I could put my queen here to kind of discourage that. And I want to maybe bring my rook here, bring this knight around, bring this bishop out. Yeah, he got out of the way and played c3. Interesting. So rook here. It's just good to have the rook on the open file. The bishop has no great squares. Here it blocks the knight. Here it blocks the e-file. Here and here it just gets taken. And this knight has no great moves either. Knight here blocks the bishop and doesn't really have a follow-up. So rook here. This opens the possibility of the knight coming around like this. I have an idea here. Okay, he wants to maybe sacrifice there. That's interesting. I'm wondering if I can push on the queen side here. Okay, well, I have time. Let's calculate the sacrifice. He takes, I take. Queen takes. My move. This knight is kind of blocking things here. This bishop is looking here, so queen takes is threatening something here. This knight is defending this square. Queen could also check here, which is a bit annoying. Yeah, let's unblock. Bring this knight to a defensive position. Also defend with the queen along this row. hopefully discourage that sacrifice. So now if the bishop takes, yeah, let's do this. Bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes. I have a queen here. And I can, I don't know, bring a bishop out or something. It gives me a check. I can bring the knight here. Yeah, so I should try and after queen takes, I should try and do something about this bishop. Maybe knight here. To shut this bishop down. If he plays the sacrifice. Looks like he's thinking for a while, so good. Okay, he moved his king one square over, maybe in preparation of playing the f-pawn forward. Let's push on the queen side like I wanted to earlier. I have another idea for trading off this light squared bishop, which is to put my my bishop here. So I was going to push the b pawn first and then push the a pawn. So b6, a5, bishop a6. And also the b pawn maybe threatens, not threatens, supports pawn to c. Pawn to c5, pawn takes. Yeah, I could get that in, but I want to do this idea first. Getting this bishop off the back rank, connecting my rooks. He moved his king back. That's very inhuman kind of play. I hope he's not using an engine. Maybe it was a mouse slip. Maybe he was just waving his mouse around, thinking of things he might do, and he accidentally clicked the king to another square. Okay. Oh, that's an idea. I see. The queen. Okay, so let's bring another attacker here on this knight. The queen and bishop lined up to defend that knight. You know, I thought I had prevented that move, and he just went back. Okay, so it's just his style. He likes to play a move and then retreat. You know, it puts the burden on your opponent to think of a good move. So what I'm thinking of is, let's bring the rook back. Two can play this game. I was about to move my knights. Tell you what I was thinking. Maybe this one up here. And I realized this rook is undefended here, and this rook is loose here. So before I start getting adventurous with the knights, let's just bring my rooks back to a stable configuration. I've got the better bishop, and the pawn structure is okay. So I think I have some kind of slight edge. The knight maneuver is, I was thinking it was something like this: knight here, knight here. Then if he takes, he's doing something similar. Anyway, the idea is if with knight here and knight here, then if he takes, I can take back with a knight. But actually, he's got queen, bishop, and knight lined up there, so I'm not ever going to get that in. Well, not without more support. Okay, I don't really like the knight there. Let's see if I can chase it away. Before, if I just took with the bishop, he could take back with the knight and have another knight there. Oh, now he does this. Okay, well, let's calculate. I take the bishop, queen takes. There's no check, there's no mate threat here. Threat is here. So I take the bishop, queen takes. I take the knight. Yeah, it seems like he's relying on this knight here, but it's not permanent. I brought this knight back to take, right? I take here. This queen actually has no checks. Knight covers there, there, pawn covers, knight covers. And that also clears the aisle for my queen. Keep taken. Okay, for a reflex take. He's going to get a rook here. That's probably what he's counting on. And my queen has no moves. So rather than bring his rook here, I could bring my knight here. That way, if he tries to bring a rook here, I can trade it off. This also blocks the queen's view of that square, so that means my king can actually consider walking out of trouble, but not with the queen right there, I guess. If I went here, the queen would come in immediately with check, so. Another thing I have here is the rook lift. Okay, so he comes in with the pawn. If I put a rook here, the queen can't go forward, can't go sideways, so that leaves back. It can go back here or back here. If it goes here, I could take the knight and then put my rook here. Otherwise, it goes here. I could harass it with the queen. Let's start with the rook lift. Try to keep white busy so white doesn't have time to deploy the rooks. That would be very dangerous. If I get to take the knight and get a rook here with sente, with tempo, then I could bring this rook over. think I'd be okay. And then my extra material should win in the end. Yeah, queen there. So if I put my queen here, will he trade? Will he go here? Then I take the knight and put my rook here. Assuming he takes back with the pawn. Yes, I like that. And if he takes back with the rook, I just keep trading. So the queen can go to this square or this square. But it can't stay on the H file. Could go back here. Yeah, it went to that square. So now I take the knight. If rook takes, I take the rook. If pawn takes, I put the rook here, hitting his queen, defending my knight. And then bring the other rook over. Well, an interesting style of play. Yeah, he took with the pawn. So I can go here. This queen can't come into my camp. This is covered, this is covered, this is covered. He can't go to the H file. So the queen has to move. I could put the knight here first. I can push this pawn. Well, knight here is interesting because I can lift the rook. Can the queen come back and harass that knight? Yes, the queen can go there. Pawn there. Pawn, yeah, it kind of begs him to play pawn g4, which is not something I really want to face. There's a queen check here. Anyway, the one advantage of pawn to f5, I mean knight to f5, the advantage of knight to f5 is it stops this pawn from coming forward, at least momentarily. How about check here, rook here? If he pushes this pawn, I can step aside, and this pawn will be under fire. Care, great care must still be taken. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you got 2 pawns for the piece, which is almost enough compensation. So rook here. He pushes the pawn. I move my rook to the side. Yeah, and then he's going to push again. I can put my knight here. I could put my rook here. to try and keep this covered here. Threaten this pawn. I think that's better. 2 pawns are hanging. He can attack my rook, but I can take here. He can defend, and I'll take here. No, this is not hanging. Sorry. Not hanging. Only this is hanging. Yeah, so he just defends there. And now my rook is in danger of being trapped. Looking at this pawn. Yeah, I think h4 kills me. The rook has no moves. Okay. Saved by the bell. We can look at that after the game. Okay, my rook is still in trouble, so I need to move the knight. Knight here, he takes. Rook here. Oh, he can't take. So I can move the knight here. This gives my rook a retreating square. And I'm threatening queen here check. Just simplify some things. With the queens off, then this pawn coming forward will... let's bring my knight around. Yeah, I have room to retreat here. He can go after this pawn. Yeah. What you gonna do? I get into a bunch of trades here. Yeah, I've been caught in an awkward spot. And not enough time to figure it all out. This rook is in such a bad position. Okay, let's walk my king out and then bring the rook around. Pick up another pawn here, I hope. Bring the knight back to this side of the board. Yeah, it's starting to look pretty drawish. wanted to get my rook there for a long time. So what this means, though, is if he checks me, I have to come forward. Get my rook out here. Let's attack the pawn. Just take the rook. Okay, that was probably a mouse slip. But let's go. I'm going to take the win. I've been having a rough day. Let's go back to this point here where my rook was trapped. And he didn't take advantage of it. Yeah, right here. What am I supposed to do at this point? The threat is just pawn to h4, and the rook has no moves, right? This is covered, and this is covered, and this is protected. So let's erase +1. So +1 is +1 for white. I should play knight e6. I have to sacrifice the knight in order to survive this position. So yeah, so I was in bad shape already there. Let's see, turn this back on. Let's step forward. I played this move. Yeah, it was just a little trick. You know, I was trying to get this pawn like happened in the game. And for some reason he played king up, and then all of a sudden that switches. So in this position it's +4. It would take first and then push e4, h4. Yeah, h4 is not even the top move on the list. Interesting. h4 is like the third move on the list. The top line from the computer is taking here. Queen takes. Rook a, d1. I guess eventually after he's through chasing me around, Queen c4. b3. He's just going to, his typical computer play, chase the queen all over. And then eventually at the end, I guess, Queen f4. Yeah, eventually he goes after the rook. f6 to defend it. h4. There's h4. So just a bunch of intermediate moves to chase me around and then play h4. But the basic threat here is h4, winning that rook. So if we back up, in this position already, it was a mistake because he can play g4. So what should I have played here? When he pushed the pawn, okay, it's 0.3 at this point, so 0.2, negative 0.2. So a slight edge for black, and I had to play rook h6 to keep the edge. Well, interesting game, I thought. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.